What is up, everybody? It is the Draco Meteorologist coming with you to our Week 3 Team Builder matchup. Last week, we're going to have spoilers in 3, 2, 1. We played against the Caribbean Chincharons, and we took our first loss of the season, 0-2. This team was led by a Terrawada Arboliva that really poked a hole throughout my entire team in the beginning and middle, and then kind of finished with an unburdened Sleezler. Looking back at it, I really just sacked a lot of the damage off of my Gliscor after, getting basically out-prepped and outplayed throughout the entire beginning of the game. It's really hard to kind of come back. I even had chances. I had like 2 or 3 Dark Pulses and Ice Crashes that could have flinched and ended up not doing so. Would have gotten me a little bit more back into the game, but it's really hard to come back when you get, out-prepped like that. So congratulations to him. We're coming into week 3, tied in ninth place, actually, so just outside of playoffs. That's because we went 2-0 in our first week we won, and 0-2 in our second week. So we're at a perfect 1-1-0-0. I shouldn't say perfect, an even 1-1-0-0 finish right now. So going into week 3, we are going to be playing against the Jirachi All Stars. We're looking to bounce back with a victory. So let's take a look on who we are playing. Like I mentioned, we got the Jirachi All Stars, and they have a Sun team. So for people that have known me for a little bit, I know hopefully many of you are new viewers, I played a lot of weather teams when I first started playing Pokemon Draft League, and it was Sun. So I'm relatively familiar with Sun teams. This one's a little bit different than what I've drafted, but still I understand the goal of these types of teams. It's very high offense, not a lot of defensive pivots or pieces in the team. And at first glance, my team is very weak to fire as well as ground, so it seemed like a terrible matchup. After doing some prep, I think I did a decent amount work to kind of bring in some weird things, some weird sets that really helped check some of his threats. So going into it, I think he's got 10 great Pokemon. 2 of them this week just don't make very much sense to me unless they're bringing hazards, and that's really it. And that'd be Jirachi and Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks gets absolutely walled by my Gliscor. Again, he could bring screens or hazards and things like that that could potentially be a problem, but we do have some ways to kind of get rid of those both hazards as well as screens, so it's not the absolute end of the world. And I feel like he's sitting Pokemon that might do a little bit better because offensively this Pokemon's not doing too much. As for Jirachi, kind of just gets hit super effective by basically everything, and both Psychic and their 2 main stabs of Psychic and Steel not doing too great into my team. The other 8 I think are all fair game. I think there's a 4 in Roaring Moon, Lando T, Ninetales, and Venusaur that look the best. And then of the 4 of Hariyama, Infernape, Cyclizar, Hatterene, I think are going to be his more defensive pivot pieces. So the only fairy that I have in Steel type is my Tinkaton, and Roaring Moon, Lando T, all of these types of Pokemon are going to absolutely destroy, right, with both those fire and ground moves. So it's really difficult, and I do not bring it this week. So I'm a little afraid of those dragon type moves. I think Roaring Moon can do very well into my team, especially if it gets a Dragon Dance off. Whether it's Proto Attack or Proto Speed, I think both are relatively similar. But the Proto Speed +1, I have nothing in my team to outspeed it. So need to come up with some defensive checks for that. Lando T, I think, is going to be more of that hazard setter myself, or pivot into Gliscor, as well as my other defensive pieces, right? Or my physical attacking pieces, I should say. I think Lando T is going to be that physical defender. A strong stab Earthquake. I could even see an Earth Power into some of my team just because I typically lean a little bit more physically defensive bias overall. So I could see either set, but definitely trying to get up to a decent speed tier, getting up those hazards. I don't really on Gliscor have too much to touch him. Like, I have Ice Fang, but after doing Kelks -1 full HP, I'm doing like 30%. It's pretty sad. So I ended up opting not to do that. But I see Lando coming. Like I said, talked about Jirachi, Sandy Shocks a bit. Hatterene, I didn't prep too much against. Just because I feel like its main reason of coming would be to check Iron Jugulis and Terra Poison. Honestly, all 3 of my Terras look pretty good, and even if I don't bring Terra Poison, I have the Flash Cannon move, so that's something that will just overall do a whole bunch of damage. My Terras it's not very easy for a Psychic or Fairy type to really hit Jugulus once I Terra. If I go Terra Poison, you have those Psychics, but then I've got a really nice stab Terra Blast that's going to be hurting you a lot. So I could see it potentially an Assault Vest variant, or maybe that Poison Resist Berry as a possibility. So kind of expecting that. Ninetales as the Sunsetter, I think, is almost a must given my team's lack of or weakness to fire. Bringing Sun is going to be really important, so this is basically guaranteed. It's probably going to be fast enough to like I assume it's going to be the lead into Gliscor, who I've been leading, last week, and I really wanted to lead the first week to either, Baton Pass set up the Sun or throw out a Wisp to try to get off my Toxic Orb. So I think Ninetales is probably the most common, or I guess you should say expected. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but I expect Ninetales. Venusaur really tears a hole in my team. I have 1.5 checks for this thing, and if my checks go poorly, or he reads me well, which I think is going to be tough just based off of my sets, this thing is just going to blow an entire hole in my team. It's going to be very difficult. It's basically going to get a kill and then swap out. And we'll see, in the first Pokemon that I show. Hariyama, I think, is going to be that main check for Qianpao. The thick fat with fighting, you don't even have to Terra on this thing, is going to be really strong in resisting my Ice and Dark type moves. I have Psychic Fangs is the only thing that hits it, but overall it's just thick, it's bulky, it has Bullet Punch as well to have that priority super effective damage against Qianpao, and I think it's going to be that main source of physical check if he brings any at all. It might be if Qianpao's in, I just claim a kill into the rest of his team, because it really does look like that with both the Ice and the Dark and outspeeding everything. But Hariyama, I think, is more expected than Infernape. If I do see Infernape, I think he's going to be more of that lead Pokemon, potentially like a Sash with Stealth Rocks, or perhaps he'll come in and check those Ice and Dark type moves. However, I'm probably just going to hit Psychic Fangs right into him right away. So I could see him coming, as well as just an offensive thing. I think Infernape can play a whole bunch of different roles this week, which kind of makes it scary, but I don't know how strong he is in every single one of those roles, if that makes sense. Stab Fire move in the Sun, obviously going to do a whole bunch of damage to me, but I think it'll be more likely special attack just due to having Vacuum Wave and only having, I think it has Bullet Punch as the physical attacking side, but I know it does not have Mach Punch. So I see it being more of a special attacker to either bring in on Qianpao as a revenge killer to basically bring in that Vacuum Wave and say, you're going to die. But yeah, finally we have Cyclizar on his team. This is another potential check into the Iron Jugulus, but again, it's kind of scary because I have the Fairy, Terra Fairy, which again I think looks relatively decent into his team. So I think Jugulus is going to be hard to switch into. Cyclizar could come as that Rapid Spinner. I can set up hazards a lot, and you really only have that one source of removal into my team, as well as I don't really plan on bringing a Fairy type, or if I were him, I would expect I don't bring Tinkaton, so even those Dragon moves kind of do well into my team as well. So with that all being said, let's see what I bring for week 3. So first we got Qianpao, talked about it a little bit. I am running Jolly Choice Scarf this week, actually. So a little bit of a mix-up from the Life Orb that I've had in previous weeks. This thing will be able to get over that Venusaur in the Sun. So let's say Venusaur does get a kill. No matter what type of Terra it has, it'll most likely be Terra'd based off of my switch-in that I'll talk about in a few Pokemon here. So I should have a free click on something. More often than not, I think I'm just going to click Psychic Fangs. I think Psychic Fangs will hit neutral in every single one of his Terra types, and super effective in Poison if he does not Terra. And I think his 2 switch-ins are going to be those fighting types. So if I'm able to, get that prediction in quotation marks, because I just think it's a relatively safe click, and do a whole bunch of damage to his 2 switch-ins, I think we're going to be off to a great start. And I'll have to switch out, but then afterwards, this thing's going to outspeed a +1 or a proto speed Roaring Moon. This thing's going to be able to get over basically anything Scarfed, obviously, and the ice moves go relatively hard on this team once Ninetales is gone. And even then, Ninetales does not appreciate taking a Sword of Ruin, Icicle Crash or Ice Spinner, especially if it has some sort of damage on it. So this is going to be that main speed check for this week. I was really different between the Icicle Crash and Spinner because I feel like they're extremely similar moves. However, I really only needed the three, and I felt like having a guaranteed hit in Ice Spinner compared to maybe if I'm a little behind it, I really need to play for that flinch for Icicle Crash is going to matter a little bit, at least in the mocks that I did, compared to like an Ice Shard if for whatever reason Roaring Moon had Proto Speed plus 1, because then it does outspeed me and it's looking relatively scary. So that could be the only thing that I kind of wish that I did differently instead of having two ice moves that are pretty similar, having some sort of priority, even though I have a choice scarf. But I think it never came up in any of my mocks, and I hope it doesn't in this game either. Next, we have our Gliscor. Gliscor is going to be full physical defensive this week. He is rocking a Stealth Rock, Protect, Earthquake, and Toxic. This is a pretty common set, I feel like, for Gliscor. I think in Sun teams, and I saw this happen a lot to me towards the end of me playing Weather, it's really nice to just stall a turn with Protect, right? So that's something where I really wanted to make sure that both I got that extra healing from the Toxic heal or the Poison heal, as well as stalling those Sun turns. I have Toxic myself, so a lot of the times this thing's going to come in on the Lando T. I don't have anything except for Toxic to hit it, right? This thing really, or Lando T really only would get Stone Edge to hit this thing, and I don't think it's going to come. It could, but I don't think so. I think Stealth Rocks, U-Turn, Earthquake, and Taunt probably look a little bit better, but if you wanted to go more aggressive, you could definitely do that. So this thing's going to come in, hopefully set up some rocks, get a Toxic off something, protect away those Sun turns, and Earthquake looks pretty nice into the Sun team, believe it or not, right? All right, third on our list, we have our Cinderace. Cinderace has been Choice Scarf the last 2 weeks, really similar moves. This week he's going to be our main Venusaur check. Looking at its stats, 80, 77, or 80, 75, 75 bulk is not the greatest. However, this is the only thing that resists both fire and grass because I have no dragon types on my team. So this is going to be that main Venusaur check. Just because I feel like it's pretty free overall to either click the weather ball in front of my face because I have only one water type, and that's Blastoise. If I bring that in, it's outsped, and now we have a stab either Giga Drain or Energy Ball that's really going to smack me up and just kill me. It can growth in my face because I don't really threaten it back. So Cinderace is going to be that one to come in, take a hit, take 2 hits most likely if it's going to be in the sun, and then the plan is we're going to be clicking Gunk Shot in front of him. I don't think it's very common Venusaur is not going to be keeping its grass and poison typing in front of Cinderace, especially when I have Pyro Ball in the sun. So his other 2 Terras that he can do, or his 3 Terras, are going to be grass, fairy, and fire. I think fire is most likely. However, fairy I could see as well. So this Gunk Shot will hit neutral or super effective in all 4 of those potential typings, including his own base one, and it does a lot of damage, assuming, cross our fingers, that I land. The poison type's also going to be really nice if they either have the Sludge Bomb. They could also have Earth Power as the third move. I think Sludge Bomb looks a little bit better, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Earth Power. Maybe it runs 4 with no growth. That would be nice too, but I'll be living those types of hits. If it has no growth, even with a Life Orb damage, I can take both an Earth Power as well as that fire move like that Weather Ball or, an Energy Ball that hits my face. If I have rocks, then it's a different story, or if I get hit by rocks, then it's a different story. But this is going to be that main check. Once I get down to like 10-20%, having Sucker Punch to kind of finish it off is going to be basically a guaranteed 2-hit KO with that Gunk Shot Sucker Punch, especially if it has that Life Orb damage on it. If it's going to be running a non-boosting item, then I'm not guaranteed to kill unless I have rocks up. But the chip is really all that I need, right? And if this thing's not running Life Orb, that's really nice where it's not as much as a threat as it could be. I am going to be speed tied just in case that this thing needs to click U-turn in front of a Roaring Moon. The stabbed Pyro Ball in the sun is also going to be looking really nice. So a little bit of a mix-up of a set. This was really my best answer for Venusaur I felt on my team, and also I think unexpected, which is going to be nice for a best of 1 game. Next, we have our Terra Captain Iron Jugulus. I think this thing looks pretty strong this week. I only had to run both Terra Blast Flying and Earth Power. I'm going to be max speed to speed tie the opposing Infernape, and max attack just to make sure that I get out as much damage as possible. So as you see, I also have Substitute and Rain Dance. This is going to be my dedicated lead. Like I said, I do think that the Ninetales is the most likely lead. Ninetales doesn't really hit me too hard, and if it does, it's going to like want to go for a Weather Ball, and clicking Rain Dance, I'm not going to be taking too much damage from a non-stab Rain Dance Weather Ball, or sorry, Water Weather Ball in my face. I'll take a little bit, but it shouldn't be too much, and I'll be able to threaten it too with Earth Power. And in my opinion, you don't really want to, have that Earth Power doing too much damage. So to the Ninetales taking a lot. So I'm gonna see Rain Dance a lot, or even Substitute in front of its face if I feel like. Something a little bit more passive, especially when I click Flying, is going to be a Substitute in front of Lando T's face. I don't think he runs Stone Edge, but he could. But let's say he does run Stone Edge. That's going to be a move that misses relatively often, right? 80% chance, not very likely to hit. So to make sure that I have some substitutes to be taken either 25% instead of almost dying in one hit, or waiting for that miss so I'm safe behind a substitute, and basically being able to two-hit KO a non-special defensive variant relatively easy with Fly Terra Blast is really important. Not a lot of things want to switch in on this. It's obviously not going to be getting like one-hit KOs, but I think this is going to provide a lot of chip damage, and I have relatively good defensive answers for a lot of the offensive Pokemon where I want to try to keep this thing healthy. It being Terra Fly means I take a little bit more damage from rocks, so we got to make sure that we keep the hazards off as well. Our fifth Pokemon, and for our final time actually, is going to be our Okidogi. A little spoiler alert, I do make couple of team changes here that I'll talk about in the team builder next week. However, Okidogi has basically been the same type of set week in and week out. Max defensive, trying to stop the pressure, or trying to stop a physical attacker on the enemy team. This week it's going to be, that Roaring Moon, potentially even a Lando T, which doesn't make sense a lot of the times because it's like, Stab Earthquake's really going to hurt. But that's why we have the Shukaberry. The Guard Dog as well, getting +1 is going to be really nice. That Ice Punch always guaranteeing a KO unless it's like max defense with the Yachi Berry. Close combat to make sure you knock out that Roaring Moon. I'll be able to take a +1 Outrage. Not super well, but I'll be able to, and knock it out with close combat. Poison Jab for either the Terra Fairies or Hatterene, and overall just a good stab move and Earthquake. I think most of the time I'm just going to be checking likely the Roaring Moon and clicking close combat. If I feel like Lando's coming in, I could just predict and click an Ice Punch. That's a nice neutral move as well. It's going to be hitting the Roaring Moon relatively well, even with the Yachi Berry, which I think is likely with me having Ice Shard on Qianpao. But I will miss this Pokemon. I wish that it didn't have to be that big physical defensive Pokemon. You'll see who I replace it with next week that will definitely do that role a little bit better. Finally, we got Big Man Blastoise. I know, third week in the row where I have the exact same team. I do apologize. I really wanted to try something else this week, but the other three real Pokemon on my team are all super weak to either ground or fire or both. So it just didn't seem like having a good idea to bring those types of Pokemon in the Sun team with a couple of stab earth moves as well. Blastoise, going to be doing a similar role he's been doing the last 3 weeks. He's going to have Rapid Spin, going to be making sure that rocks stay off my field, Flip Turn for momentum, Mirror Coat, and Ice Beam. This is my secondary check to Venusaur. I don't like it at all. It's a little scary because I've had Mirror Coat on Blastoise before, and clicking Growth is relatively free in front of my face. I'm not going to be doing too much damage to the Venusaur, so it might be a 50-50. See where I am on the team. If I feel like I need to take a grass move and kill back with Mirror Coat, and like that's my only win condition, and hope he doesn't click Growth, we'll be doing that. Otherwise, I think flip turning into my Qianpao is typically the safer move. This is also likely just going to be a sack at the end of the day too. We have Rain Dish instead of Torrent because I do set up the rain. It felt like Torrent wasn't really going to be used in a minus special defense or minus physical attack with flip turn in the sun. So if I can get a couple of free turns of leftovers in the rain, that'd be nice. And then Citrus Berry to heal up a little bit more. But that's going to be the team for this week. I'm actually doing this the night before. We have a Saturday morning game, and this is a Friday night. So I got a little bit more time to think about it. I don't think I'm going to be changing any of the sets. Feel okay going into it. I think I prepped a little bit different than I have the last 2 weeks. I feel like my week 1 and week 2 team were relatively similar, and I looked into a few different things for the opponent instead of what I just think was best. So I feel a little bit more prepared. I gotta remember to be patient with my clicks and really just think ahead 2, 3 turns of what my win condition is, because I think I have a couple here and I have decent answers to stop his. So thanks again for watching, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for the match. Hello, everyone. We are about to get into our week 3 matchup. It's the first time that I'm playing relatively early in the AM, so I haven't had much of the day to get nervous. So I'm excited. We'll see what he brings. Okay, not terrible. No Ninetales is kind of surprising. Venusaur would be my guess as the Chien Pao check, then with Thick Fat, and probably like a Terrifier, if I had a guess. I don't know what to do for a lead now. Jirachi surprises me a lot. Rain Dance is pretty useless now, which is fine. I could see Rocks coming up right away. You know what? I could see Lando coming. Then let's do this. If Lando comes out, then I get to show him the Goob Nut right away. We'll see. I think overall this is pretty safe. Both Infernape, as well as Hariyama and Venusaur. Okay. The good thing that I've noticed from doing recordings here is I actually think a little bit more instead of just like randomly clicking too. I kind of try to talk through what my thought processes are, which is nice for me because I tend to go a little fast, and even with the recordings too, I feel like sometimes I stray away from that. So this has really been helping me, make a little bit more sound decisions. Man, I wish I could. And I know this is a no timer league, but I'm a little surprised. I know that there's been some matches that have been like 20 turns and have gone an hour. So let's hope this is not one of them. I think it'd be kind of hard for me to fill that much dead air too. So who knows? I might have to start editing some of these videos to cut out the in between time a little bit. I mean, we can double think about our lead here, like a Scarf, Moon, U-turn, Jirachi setting up rocks would be good as well. Ooh, Jirachi lead would be pretty scary, honestly. Just to set up those rocks. Also has Ice Beam. Let's change our lead up a little bit here. I should have. Rocks are going to be pretty likely. I think I just bring in Gliscor. This guy doesn't really have anything to touch me. If he gets up rocks, that's okay. I get my Toxic Orb. Yep. I think I'm going to get taunted, but I want to try to Toxic this guy. I think anything getting Toxic, he doesn't really want to switch in Jirachi. Maybe Venusaur would be something. Man, I really wish that he clicked faster. That would have been a really nice start, but that's okay. I think Jirachi was a good lead too, and the quad weak psychic type. I didn't really have any plans for this for Jirachi. I guess Blastoise can check it relatively well. I could like the hardest hitting thing would be like a Stone Edge. Okay, U-turn's good. Not Venusaur or Jirachi. If it's Jirachi, then kudos. Does Hariyama get guts? It does. Fuck, wow. Oof. Ice Beam is something this gets right. Ice Punch. I'm pretty physical. I guess I don't know what else it would do. I think this thing also gets T-Bolt though too, which kind of blows. Hmm. He has no way to get rid of these rocks. Like how much is a Ice Punch doing? Or like a Surf? Oopsies. Zero investment Ice Punch up to 45. That's kind of crazy. Surf around the same. I don't really want to lose that much health right now. So I think it's the Stoice time. Maybe get these rocks away. Okay, screens is fine. I do have Psychic Fangs. I think I'm just playing too passive at times. I think I'm just respecting what they can do because I've accomplished nothing and they've set up rocks and now a screen, which obviously is not great. Yep, this is fine. I'm now faster, which kind of blows. Most likely, unless no, this thing could have speed. Let's take a look. It's likely full bulk. I'll just click flip turn here. He's probably expecting a flip turn, right? This thing also can get Thunderbolt. I'm expecting this not to do too much damage. No leftovers. Yep, U-turn is fine. In front of Venusaur. Not the greatest. I think... What does Venusaur have to hurt me on Qianpao right now? Terra Fire, Terra Blast would be it. Terra Fire, let's go with Terra Blast. Yeah, that's just killing me. Fangs get rid of the screens. I think Brand was always going to be my thought here. I could also just go into Gliscor, maybe get a cheesy Toxic off, protect some turns away of these screens. I kind of want this thing to Terra first. I think the plan was always to click Gunk Shot, not miss. These screens are going to not be fun to play around. Good news is I got rid of the rocks. I really haven't taken too much chip damage. A little bit from Blastoise. Definitely in the back foot a little bit here. I really want to see a Terra. I think that's the main thing. I think you're kind of forced to with me having like Pyro Ball, right? I have no clue what this set may be. Oh, this thing doesn't get Thick Fat because it's not Mega Venusaur. I mean, he's positioning it like it's a sweeper behind these screens. Oh man, yawning. Yep, Terrifier, Gunk Shot, doing negative. Oh, that was a good poison. Good poison for sure. I think that's crazy. Number one. I really don't want to lose Vladimir yet. I think I need to get as much chip damage as I can. The poison was really nice. Um, how much is that doing to this guy behind the screen, right? Because that's probably pretty bulky from what I just saw, because Gunk Shot was doing 24%. My calc with zero investment is 28 to 33. So this thing is not bulky at all. Did we see leftovers or anything like that? Let's just assume no item. Probably pretty fast. A max HP set is likely, which means this guy's really not doing too much damage to me. Like Earth Power is doing 27 to 32. I think it's just a Gunk Shot angle. Yep. That's fine. This thing did its job, right? This is what I wanted it to come and do. If it clicks growth, congratulations. You're getting poison turns. I'm clicking Sucker Punch till the day I die. It was a lot of damage though. Weather Ball in the sun to a poison. Terrifier? Huh. It is Life Orb. Okay. I'm good with that. This will show that I'm Scarf, but I think I need to do this, and I need to click Psychic Fangs and get these screens away. It really, really, really lets in Roaring Moon for free, which I hate. I really, really hate. This... I really, really hate that. The good news is this thing is dead, right? Threat for threat. This was my brand did its job. My Cinderace did its job. I think I just have to click what's in front of me. I think I just click the Ice Spinner. I really don't want to let Moon in for free, so he can just get a free Dragon Dance, Proto, Attack, or Speed, or something like that. I do have Vladimir, and this guy at max, but the screens will be gone by then, so yeah, thick fat. Fuck, man. I have to stick to my gut, unfortunately, and I'm just not doing that. We know that you can only be fighting type. I think getting you out here is fine. Screen's almost gone. Man, I just needed to click Psychic Fangs. I really needed to click Psychic Fangs. Gliscor matters more. I think it's a Dogi, and if you click like high horsepower, it's good for that guy, but it's okay. I understand my reasoning and why I did it, but I think just seeing this thing out there, knowing it's thick fat, like I have to stick to my guts and like click the move that I know I should have. Like I went into this match saying no matter what, I'm gonna be clicking Psychic Fangs, and like I knew I outsped, I know it killed there, so it's just like I got rid of screens and fucked this guy up a lot. It sucks. It sucks. I don't know what this guy does. Could predict a switch. I mean, obviously you predict a switch, right? I'm not staying in here. Drain Punch, totally fine. I could fish for a poison. I think it's a high horsepower angle. Nothing wants to take a high horsepower. Lando comes in. I get a +1 ice punch. I think I do that. I think I do that. Wow. Oh, this game would be so different if I just like went with my gut. I think I'm just playing too safe. Nice, perfect. All right. Click Earthquake. Oh, Sugar, live, die. Sweet. Guy didn't understand the tech. This doesn't watch Hotmon's videos. If you know, you know. I don't want this setup screens again. So it's gonna click Psychic in my face. This thing has done its job. It killed Lando. I have a full check still for Moon. I don't love Infernape in the back, but I also don't want free screens right now. I don't want free screens. Nice. Whoa! A crit! I'm sorry. I've gotten lucky. The poison first, and now the crit through the screen. Alright, I'm in a huge, huge spot. Now, this thing is +1. What comes in and kills this? Like, nothing? Like, Venusaur maybe comes in? Wow. I'm glad I stayed in. I knew he wasn't clicking Psychic, right? Like, I've been playing really passive this entire time. It's a screens user. So I'm glad I clicked that. Jug is looking really nice too in the back still. Qianpao still has Hariyama to deal with, but Psychic Fangs is good. I could quickly take a look at those calcs. I did 10% to that guy behind a screen. Qianpao, Ice Spinner behind Hariyama. This guy's obviously thick fat. Max, if I had to guess. Behind a Reflect. You click Giga Drain? You click Earth Power? I really wish I had Protect. I really don't want this thing to get health back. I mean, Earth Power would make Sunny Day, Weather Ball, Grass Move, Earth Power. Are you setting up the sun again? Uh, mm, I don't know. I don't know. I think I just click what's in front of me. Yeah, he sets sun again. That's fine. Again, just gonna click high horsepower. I'm just clicking moves until this thing is dead. This kind of confirms a special ape. wouldn't say like guaranteed, but does he like plot up? Maybe. I could see that. Screens are almost gone for the remainder of the not really 6 turns. Again, it's hard for me to click Psychic Fangs. It's really hard for me to click Psychic Fangs with Roaring Moon still alive and with only 3 Pokemon, right? If there's more, then that makes sense. Fire Blast in the Sun did a lot. Wow, surprising. Just to make sure that I'm not like going crazy here. Infernape. Let's go with like a plot. Fire Blast in the Sun. Yeah, it's a special set. What is Blastoise doing? Nothing. Nothing. Legitimately nothing. I could click Mirror Coat. Kind of stall out these Sun turns is potentially what I want to do. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna click Mirror Coat or Flip Turn. Oh, plot is scary though. I always have Psychic Fangs that kills, right? Like I always have Chien-Pao Psychic Fangs that kills, yeah. So that's fine. I think I Mirror Coat. Think I Mirror Coat here. Or Flip Turn. Do I expect him to switch? Like it could have been Specs. I don't know for sure. I think a slow flip is better, right? A slow flip, get into Nidalee. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Slow flip. I should live every hit. Yep, good. Yep, yep. I have to do this. Required. Really glad I didn't click Mirror Coat. I'm. I like knew it. I literally knew. That's wild. Oh my god! And I just throw the game like that, like that. Speed tie, please. Speed tie, please. Wow. I like. Like I'm so stupid. I can't say anything else other than I turned off my brain. Like I need to win a speed tier or speed tie here. Oh god. I mean, this thing still looks like a threat. Gliscor is here to wall the last 2. Like I just need to win the speed tie. If I win the speed tie, I win the game. If I don't, I lose and I deserve it because that was literally fucking idiotic what I just did. That blows. Well, well, like miss a fire blast, crit through this. Is that my out? I'm really disappointed in myself. I mean, yeah. Protect away the return. Yep. Nice. All right. Wow. I mean, this thing is Rock and Ice Punch. Got to get a Toxic off, install this thing. Land some double protects. Protect. I mean, Hariyama is gonna take 0 damage from this Earthquake. Think I need to land a Protect. Think I need to land a Protect. Think I need to land a Protect. Alright, well, GG's. Sometimes you're just stupid, right? That's what happened there. I can't really say anything else other than how could I forget about Vacuum Wave when I prepped for it? I knew it was there. I had answers to the Infernape, and I just didn't think. So, GG's. We're down 0-2. It's alright. Season's not done. I'll see you guys next week.